Hey everyone, this is JaneTaff the Sage.
And Deanna Vestal, your career catalyst.
And Olivia Angeli, your farmer's market guru.
All right, we are here with the Lipstick Leadership Legacy Podcast. And this event is sponsored by the Career Path Development Group and Taff Enterprises. You all already know that L3P is hosted by two sassy, amazing women in the Sacramento, California area, where we dish about culture, women in leadership, current events, and any other juicy topics that come to mind that affect the leadership experience. Our goal with you, our community, is to inform, entertain, and evoke curiosity, inspiring you, we hope, to have provocative conversations in the workplace, among your friends, and with your loved ones. What are we doing today, Deanna?
We are continuing with our mindset theme and a happy, healthy new year. Right now, we're in a series and it's all about integrative health, and today's focus is on beauty.
Absolutely. And beauty, we are going to flip the switch on that idea, aren't we? Because You're looking at three beautiful women, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about real beauty. Real beauty. So we're really glad you're tuning into our podcast. But do you know that we have so much more to offer you? I know, Deanna, you have a passion for all the things we offer our community.
I really do, because many of us are leaders. Many of us are women. Some of us identify in other ways. And we are already super passionate about professional development and leading others and being led and learning. But we sometimes aren't sure where we can let our hair down and be ourselves, which is really the reason we developed this community that can be found right here on our podcast every single Friday at 10 a.m. We also have a meetup group, and this month every single month, we're reading a different book. This month was the book Mindset. And next month, we'll be reading the book, Let Your Choice Be Your Voice.
Yeah.
We also have trainings and one-on-one executive level coaching, plus an entire book of businesses that provide other kinds of coaching as well.
Yeah, we are truly designed to be a community that is here to serve you and to serve each other, right? To share our business knowledge in ways that truly help not just the average leader, but the exceptional leader. We're really looking to tool people up here. And so we bring you things that may seem different. Like, we really love Olivia joining us and being on our panel, because she is looking at making you stronger in a totally different way you probably didn't think about until you got here. So we're really glad about that. And right now, let's talk about what we're here to talk about. And our title for today's show is You Glow, Girl, right? A discussion on health and beauty. Now, when we were kicking around ideas, Deanna, for what to name our podcast, lipstick kept coming up for both of us. I don't know about you, but I've worn lipstick since I think I was 13 years old.
I just started wearing lipstick this year or last year, actually. And
my mom, if I was trying to leave the house, she'd say, you need your lipstick on.
Because you're never fully dressed without it, right?
Exactly. And it's a trigger for your own mind too. I got my lipstick on, I'm ready. But as we were talking about getting ready for the show, why is talking about beauty in our current culture, maybe in our family systems, why is it difficult? What do you think?
I think it really taps into that level of expectation. There's a perception out there of what other people are thinking or what we hope other people are thinking. And then there's this mainstream this guidepost of current media that is our societal norm. And it sets these standards of beauty for us. So we're hyper-focused on it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're almost too focused on it, right? How about you, Olivia? What are some areas of beauty that make it difficult to talk about beauty in the real sense?
Well, I think also when we talk about beauty, we think of the outside, but we don't realize that what we're eating has a lot to do with what our skin looks like and our eyes and our hair. And talking to people about food and what they're eating is a very, very sensitive and touchy subject. So a lot of people aren't really interested to hear that part of it.
It's so true, and we were talking just to dig in a little bit deeper because we got to get there. Food is such a touchy subject because it could be cultural. It could be, I just like to eat what I like to eat.
Right.
Don't take my fried chicken away from me, first of all. Or I like sweets and I like soda or whatever. I personally don't, but someone could really have some feelings about that particular food item or food group. And it's hard to tell people what to eat and what not to eat.
When I first got into this line of work, I thought, oh gosh, this is going to be great. I'm going to help people. They're going to be really excited. And my first customer, my first client that I had, the wife called me to have me come in. I work with the family, and the husband just blew my hair back. And I wasn't expecting that. Wet behind the ears. I'm thinking I'm going to go and help. And he was upset.
Mhm.
I was taking his food. I was cleaning out their cupboard, and I was messing with his stuff. And he was like, you did not come in here to come and take all of my food. And I realized at that point, and I'm glad it happened with the first clients because I was prepared, but it is almost like talking about religion and politics to a certain extent, because I just thought we were talking about chips and ingredients. And I realized very quickly that no, it's not, that it's a much deeper, very sensitive subject.
It is. And, in my mind, because I'm the normal average person, right? In my mind, when I go to overhaul my diet, it's about what do I add into it? God help you if you're talking about taking away some stuff, right? And I think that's where we get all stinky about it is we're okay with adding in. Oh, okay, you got a kind of kale you want me, I'll add it in. But really it's about both the adding in and taking away that causes balance. And we forget that part.
Yes.
We forget that part. And so it becomes painful because I don't know, I kind of have a love-hate affair with my chips. And I'm like, oh, we got salt packaged and all kind of bad, according to Olivia. She can't come to my house yet. Yeah, but it's true. We have this love affair surrounding food choices. And then there are other things that are hard, that make it hard to talk about beauty. First of all, let's just handle the beauty industry's level of honesty with the consumer. That thing that we all now know as grown women as vanity sizing. Like when you go to one store, a size fits this way on you, and then you go to another store and it completely fits a different way. I have found myself married to the idea of the number. And I know I'm talking to my sisters out there, married to the idea of that size and number. And when it doesn't fit right, you kind of sit in the dressing room thinking, what have I done? And then when it fits kind of loose, you're like, ooh, I'm doing okay. But neither of those are the truth. Because when you go to male sizing, it's based on inches or centimeters, and it's a straight, consistent type of sizing. Because when I ran an experiment, my husband has been wearing a size, okay, he's very slim, a size 32 in Levi jeans for the past 21 years we've been married. If he finds those same, if he finds a 32 in any other kind of pants in any other store, they fit.
Mm-hmm.
It does not matter what store, what brand, what 32 is a 32 man sizing. But vanity sizing for women is destructive because it picks at the psyche, right? Because we're looking for that consistency. Our brain wants consistency. And when we don't get it, it's disappointing. And what I have found with young daughters is if I go into a store, and I'm not bashing on any one store, but a teenage focused store, their sizes are super duper small. And there's a 00, a 0, then a 1, right? And I'm like, first of all, I've never been any of those things, even when I was a baby.
Nope.
I think
Me
I
neither.
popped out a 7. Right?
I popped out a 10. That's right.
And it took me a while to move around after that. But when you're a teenager and you go to teen focused places, there are all these very tiny sizes. And then they want to have belly revealing clothing, right? That does something to you. If you feel you got a little more in the middle, right? Even as a teen. And forget about it by the time you're an adult, right? Because then we're talking about sizing that's not accurate in the least. And so, of course, every therapist will tell you, don't worry about the sizes. Buy what feels right. But that's hurting your ego. And so my personal appeal, if anybody hears this in the fashion industry, standardize women's sizes, please, so that all of us women can relax and buy your clothing gleefully, knowing that the size is the size is the size.
Amen.
Yeah.
I think that's so interesting because for me, as I've grown more in maturity, I am definitely no longer a size 10. And I kind of love it. I don't know if that's because I thought it was because as I've grown, I'm in the 40s club, I'll just say it.
Yeah.
And I care less about what size it is and much more about how comfortable, how long can I wear it, right?
Amen.
So that really wasn't ever a challenge before. And also being someone who pretty much shopped through my personal shopper at Nordstrom for many, many years. I mean, I said I was a size 10, but I didn't really look at the sizes. I picked up my clothes because they were selected for me seasonally, right? So it's really interesting, though, how very fashion focused we are. And then assessing that with standards of beauty.
Right.
And also thinking about how we feel more comfortable, when we show up looking a certain way, we just feel more comfortable, even though it really doesn't matter. Once we start talking, we're not looking in a mirror. We're more reflecting what the other person is giving off.
Right.
And so I think both of these areas are so interesting to note, not only the vanity sizing, but also foods that we eat. And when I've had too much coffee, for a perfect example, when I've oversugared, I'm no longer beautiful. Not only do I get an oily face, but I get kind of mean, crabby, and that is not beautiful.
No, you're right about that. Yeah.
There's a saying, right? Beauty is as beauty does.
Yeah.
And when we, even knowing that and feeling so deeply connected to that, we also hold ourselves to these standards of what size we are or what our current diet is. And I'm air quoting that.
Yeah.
Because we're all on a certain diet. If we're eating, we're on a diet, right? But we put these restrictions on what we eat, or we even complain among ourselves only about what we have to include in order to be healthy or in order to take care of blemishes, all of these things that really do impact how we feel, not just how we look.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you brought this up because I was just thinking you brought up before about unconscious bias, right? And let's talk about that just for a minute as it goes to appearance. It just brought to mind when it was actually a study where people were presented with the question, and I remember it now that it's coming to me. I didn't remember it earlier when we were discussing it, but it was a study where they said, who do you think is the boss? If there are 5 people on a card or a board, who would you choose as a boss? They're all dressed equally, but some had makeup and hair done and others did not. More often, a male would choose a made up, dressed up, hair done woman as the boss, and the women would choose the woman who was dressed up and looking fine, but no makeup.
Hmm.
And now the full study is coming to my mind. And it's funny because that's unconscious bias. Because we women know she's already the boss. She doesn't need to look that way to earn her position. She has it already. Whereas a man believes, oh, she needs to keep up appearances, right? To keep her position as the woman in authority. And so, it's interesting how very unconsciously from childhood, we build up these ideas of who's in charge. And males and females in general choose according to their taught in bias. That's a taught bias, right? Now, if a male was raised in a household where no one wore makeup, he will probably choose the woman who did not wear makeup, and vice versa for a young woman who has to choose, right? She would know that, oh, well, she looks better or what have you. But it's interesting that there are studies that talk about appearance bias, and it has nothing to do with age per se. It's how much makeup did they put on their face. So those kinds of things. And there are other influences generationally, right? We are talking about this and had a good time remembering for women of a certain age, it was called the Martha Stewart effect, right? When Martha Stewart was all over TV and had her own magazine about how to, be at home and decorate your home and heck, add an addition to your home, tend your garden, tend your animals, and look great doing it. And for the younger generation, it's really that Instagram and Pinterest that is their influencer as far as look. But you and I, ladies, we know Instagram, Pinterest, and even Martha Stewart had a whole crew of people helping make perfect look perfect, right? Yes. Airbrushing is a thing, right?
Filters are a thing.
Yes, it's a huge industry. In online, I am now getting these crazy advertisements for face tuning part 2. Face tuning took a whole, got a bad rap on Instagram because people were, this is my face, and then I face tuned it, and now I look like, like a skinny model who lost up 50 pounds from one picture to the next. And, but now they're advertising Facetune too.
Wow.
Why? Okay, what I want to know is why they picked me to advertise too. Just saying, don't know why. But Deanna.
That's wonderful. Well, you actually don't need it. And when we were younger, if you were raised with your grandmother, did either of you have grandmoms?
Yes.
I do.
Okay, I had old lady aunties and grandmoms in the neighborhood, and the fatter, the better. Like nestling my face into in between the arm and the crook of her body was like the most incredible feeling in the whole wide world. And when she would sit down and start telling a story, I just wanted to grow up and be her, right?
Right.
Mhm.
As a young person, the standard of beauty had nothing to do with what I saw outside of what I felt, right? Being in the kitchen
Mm.
was the most honored and revered place
Mm.
for some of us, especially as young women
Yeah.
and young girls. And I believe, I just wonder if that is still the standard of beauty to any of us here today.
Well, think about our society. Where is our culture? Our generations, the ones we represent here right now in this conversation, we grew up in generally multi-generational environments, right? I lived with my mother and my grandparents, and I hung out with my aunties, my cousins, multi-generational,
Hmm.
right? How about our family cultures today? Do they have the exposure we had to that psychological safety called grandma or great auntie?
I don't think so. I don't think that the the level of what we had with our grandparents and our aunts, and sometimes even for me, my great aunts, my grandmother's
Mhm.
sisters.
Yeah.
Oh, and I adored them. I don't think, and I'm blessed to have been able to have had that because it's such a rich and deep relationship.
Mhm.
I don't think that the younger generation has that. And I think that's kind of the disconnect from all of the things that we've talked about today. You know,
Yeah.
the inner beauty. I don't know that they, they're so busy looking like this that they don't even see the people that are in the room with them.
I
Yeah.
wonder about that because in our three, if the three of us who represent three different cultures and in different uh, areas of interest in our lives and upbringing, our relational, I'll just speak for myself, ladies. I do still have a deep relationship with my sisters, some of whom are 20 years older than me.
Mhm.
And I also have a really close connection to my daughter and her friends who are just entering into their 30s. Not yet. I'm sure they would be correcting me if they're listening in right now. And then the younger groups as well. I do see the intergenerational connections, and maybe even more so now because of the mainstream standards, because of Instagram and other social media platforms.
Mhm.
Or maybe some things just never change. Like at the behind the scenes and at the core of it all, it really is about relationship. And you feel beautiful when you are enwrapped,
Mm.
when you're engulfed and loved up on by people in other generations. And in this
Yeah.
case, our older generation makes us feel important when we're invited to the kitchen,
Yeah.
or makes us feel like we have a story to share when we're invited to the living room when all the adults are in there, the adults.
Yeah.
And I want to bring that up as a potential to say yes, and our current millennials, people that we see on Instagram, some of the famous people that we might love even, who are all over the media looking a certain way with their filters,
Mhm.
and the people who are older than us, like Martha Stewart, who still, now that she's hanging out with Snoop Dogg, now we all want to be able to do that. Maybe,
Is there nothing she
she
can't
can't
do?
do. Exactly. And
Yeah.
so could it be a shade of both, where there is definitely an Insta famous, or what were you talking about, Jane, where you can
Oh,
have a face
oh,
tune now?
yeah, Facetune too.
Face tune too.
Yeah.
And there's also still this intergenerational, historical, cultural vibe that is bigger than the mainstream standard that will always be
Yeah.
based on love, connection, shared history,
Mhm.
legacy.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I would like to say, because I'm Asian, I cannot tell you when now that I'm in the middle, right? I raise children and I'm a child of somebody who's still alive. I can't tell you how many times I hear, how's a greeting? Wow. You know, how's a greeting? Right? And
I think our connection was stifled for a moment. People
yeah,
say, "Wow, what?"
you're so fat.
Oh, the Asian culture. Yes.
Yes, because the Asian culture, although in Asia, when you gain weight, that is a sign of prosperity.
Yep.
Asians in America despise that. You better be this thin, even though you had 3 kids, and, wearing the latest fashions and all these things. And so there are cultural issues that we do battle with. There are, intergenerational issues that I know I've dealt with. I think it's so beautiful, but yet so foreign to me when you say, and I had this experience. I'm like, I wish I had that experience, because around health and beauty, fortunately, I don't have any issues because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do me. You don't even live with me. You can't tell me what to do. Um, but it's hard because I see my other cousins killing themselves.
Mm.
I've seen my sisters-in-law kill themselves for certain beauty standards. And I hope it's their own beauty standard. I really do. And sometimes I think, ooh, oh my gosh, I am twice their size. And then I think, you know what? Who cares? If I don't care, it won't matter, and we can coexist and be okay, validate and support one another. That's more important to me than comparing our size of pants,
Wow.
right? Relationship always is so much more important to me than me getting my ego stroked or making me feel good when I myself am not doing anything to make myself feel good, right? Right? Choice. And
Wow.
we'll get to that. All right, let's pause here for a second because wow, you girls are just taking
Wow.
off and crazy. So let's talk about one aspect of our L3P community that we all love, and that's our book discussion group. Now, we just missed, and Deanna just mentioned this, we just missed Mindset by Carol Dweck, talking about growth mindset and fixed mindset and all that juicy discussion. Next month in February, we have a kickoff with the author of Let Your Choice Be Your Voice, Phyllis Clements. And you can get her book on Amazon, Let Your Choice Be Your Voice, Phyllis, Phillis, Clements, Clements. And we are really going to dive into this idea of choice and what happens when you make choices. Good, bad, and the ugly, right? So, okay. So let's get back into this discussion because we're talking about what is hard. Now let's get into what is important. Let's get into what is important. Olivia, let's go ahead and start with you because I really feel what's important to you is foundational to what beauty really should be.
I think we have this misconception that it's what we put topically onto our body and our skin. But it's actually what we put inside. So, hydrating your body more with more fluids, more vitamins and minerals with vegetables and fruits. I just think it in that choice, you have power because you can change it, which is huge. And I don't know that we really think about that those choices actually are our power. I think, we're so busy being distracted that we don't pay attention to that part. But I think if we did start paying attention, it would really make a difference in how we make our choices.
Mm-hmm.
At night, in fact, just last night, I was like, oh, I think I want some vanilla ice cream. Well, I've been having that thought for 2 weeks now, but I haven't had it because I know that all of the work that I'm doing to make my body feel better is not going, I'm going to put myself 10 steps back if I'm eating ice cream at night. So I just think about it and I know it's there. I just don't have it.
Right.
But I think it's a form of loving myself.
Mm.
And I think that is also a huge process that we need to start looking at, that we have the choice to do.
Yeah.
Having an extra glass of water is loving yourself and your organs and your skin. Eating an extra salad or adding a handful of kale in your soup or whatever you're eating is actually loving ourselves. And it's a form of loving ourselves at the core, because that does get into the body and it's at the cell structure, which changes what the body does. So choice is a huge, it's powerful, very powerful.
I love that you always bring that up, that we're changing at a cellular level. Your choices to eat nutritionally sound foods affect you at a cellular level, because isn't it true? The whole beauty industry is trying to convince you that what you put on will change the effect. But it really is profound when you realize it's what you put in.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Because the cells change, our whole body is made of cells.
Yeah.
So if you're eating food that feeds the cell structure, the nutrients that it needs to be vibrant and alive, imagine what your skin's going to look like.
Right.
And conversely, if you're putting things on your skin, when we do that topically, our skin is our largest organ.
Mm-hmm.
So the reverse. The reverse is true.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what you're putting in, because a lot of the products that are out there that people are purchasing have, if you look at the ingredients, again, I always go back to the ingredients. If you're looking at the ingredients, a lot of it is toxic.
Yeah.
And you're putting it on the most sensitive and largest organ of the body.
Yeah.
The skin has to breathe. And if you're caking, if you're putting a moisturizer and then a foundation and then, your blush, that's 3 layers of toxicity that you might be putting onto your skin.
Mm-hmm.
And then wearing it all day long.
And wearing it all day long. And then you're not taking your makeup off at night. That can be another problem. I mean, when I always took my makeup off as a young girl.
Me too. Oh,
always.
Man.
I couldn't even sleep. I couldn't, like, if my mascara, and I knew people that would sleep in their mascara for days and just add more mascara in the morning. I'm like, are you kidding me? I couldn't even sleep with it on. But yeah, taking your makeup off is another great thing to do. It allows the skin to breathe and just be still.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And regenerate
beautiful.
itself, because all our organs in our body have their own time clock of regeneration.
Absolutely.
And if you simply give it enough fluid, give it enough water, it'll regenerate, right? And the right nutrients, of course. But it's so true. I mean, nutrition is an inside job, or beauty is an inside job, right? And then there are attitudes on the inside that make you beautiful, right?
Yes.
I mean, a whole bunch of attitudes.
Yes.
We're not talking about attitude.
Yeah.
But, we were talking earlier about this list of things money can't buy. And all 10 of them are attitudes that, when practiced properly, make someone so attractive. They magnetize people to them. Deanna, kick us off in that list and talk about the ones that you feel good about.
I got the butterflies. That's so sweet and so true. And when we first started talking with Olivia about our podcast and things, I thought that I had it all together because I have changed the way I eat some time ago and was having some struggle in a certain area and said, this is my protocol. I'm eating this. And I started with the broth and, maybe add a little avocado. And then she said, and smile and hold yourself where you are discontent and let yourself know everything's going to be okay.
Ooh.
Embrace yourself, treat yourself nicely with some sweetness. And it was so profound. It may have been the most valuable health and wellness tip I had heard, and I absolutely want to start there for things money can't buy that increase our beauty.
Yeah.
And include manners, morals, respect, character. Character is something today that is being redeveloped and redesigned because we are so influenced by other external forces that cause and inspire anger and confusion and separation, that it really is now a good time to study what our character is and what we believe character overall is. If we're setting standards of character, our beauty is automatically going to come out, right? If you know someone who has impeccable manners or is very respectful, don't they kind of look a certain way to you, regal, kind of give you a sense of not just authority, but like you're protected in their presence, or that you yourself sit a little straighter around them? Common sense is beautiful. I'm going to pivot into continuing this list.
Yeah.
Trust. When we are spending as much time on the key aspects of trust as we are on YouTube or some other place to look a certain way for our age or our body shape, we could actually feel immeasurably better. And then put that across to others, that look of trust and being trustable. Goes so far. Patience with ourselves first.
Yes.
Class. Jane and Olivia, you are two classy ladies. And when I am on the air with you, I feel classy too. Integrity and love. The greatest of these is love, because it's not just a word. We absolutely can spend time studying the key attributes of love, applying that to our experience with others, but also when we look in the mirror, when we are putting on our makeup, before we leave, right? You're never fully dressed without your lipstick and a smile. Maybe add "I love you" to that final wish before leaving the mirror.
Yeah, I love it. And I will tell you, the number one thing that was the biggest inside job for me that helped me to release a lot of anxiety, in addition to loving myself, was forgiving myself. Love and forgiveness go together. And when you forgive yourself for all the things you did not know previous to where you are now, or you forgive others for what they did to you when they didn't know certain things, that releases so much anxiety, worry, and stress from you that you instantly, what do people say when you look happy? Gosh, you look lighter.
Younger. Yes.
Like you're glowing from the inside out, right?
Yeah.
That's real beauty. That's real beauty. And so we are really hoping that our bottom line that you're hearing today is the work that you do on the inside. Work on yourself on the inside so that will show on the outside, radiating real beauty. Now, we have had awesome conversations here. I want to make sure that we get in our sneak peek for next week, because we are really excited also to have our guests. And so let's lay out what our topic is for next week. Deanna, go ahead and tell our audience.
Well, episode 11 is based on choice, your gateway drug, with a special guest and author, Phyllis Clements. You know, we've been talking today about choice as it relates to health and beauty, but did you know, and I'm sure you will agree, that choice is tied into everything we do? And we've been saying that now with all of the influences out there and reasons to be upset, confused, angry, that we really have an opportunity now to dissect the aspects and attributes of choice. And we're going to do that all month long, starting with our conversation with Phyllis Clements, who is, by the way, an oncologist. Do you know what that means?
Oh, I didn't know that.
She studies the art of being and has infused that into her practice and into her life. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation, our hallway chats that come up once in a while. For those of us who joined in our book discussion, thank you so much. And for all that you do in contributing to our Lipstick Leadership Legacy podcast.
Absolutely. So we want to just thank you for tuning in to this week's conversation at the Lipstick Leadership Legacy podcast. This is JaneTaff the Sage,
Deanna Vestal, your career catalyst,
and Olivia Angeli, your farmer's market guru.
May your lipstick stay fresh and your attitude stay sassy. See you guys next time.